From being mugged at gunpoint to losing her childhood voice, Rachael Ray's life was never the fairy tale it seemed. But nothing could prepare her for what happened next. Her aunt's tragic death in the cold, her dream house burning to ashes, and the dark rumors that tore her marriage apart. Now, as health concerns mount in 2024, the true story of TV's favorite chef is finally coming to light. Rachael Ray was born on August 25, 1968, in a small city called Glen Falls, New York. At the time, Glen Falls wasn't a big or fancy place. It had just over 15,000 people and was known for its paper mills. It was far from the exciting world of food and cooking that Rachael would one day be a part of. Rachael's family was all about food. Her grandfather, Emanuele Scuderi, came from Sicily to America with nothing but big dreams and a love for cooking. He didn't start as a chef, though. He was a stonecutter at first, but he always cared about food, and he passed that love to his daughter Elsa, who became Rachael's mom. Rachael's parents, Elsa and James, ran 3 restaurants on Cape Cod in the 1970s. One of their places was called The Carvery, and it focused on serving carved meats. From a young age, Rachael worked in the family restaurants. While most kids her age were playing, she was learning how a kitchen works. At just 8 years old, she helped out wherever she could. One time, she even burned her hand badly while flipping burgers. But instead of being scared off, she became even more excited about cooking. Things weren't always easy for Rachael's family. When she was 13, her parents divorced, and her mom had to manage 9 restaurants on her own. This meant Rachael and her siblings had to step up and help more than ever. By then, she had already done every kind of job you could imagine in a restaurant: washing dishes, bussing tables, and anything else that needed doing. On her 11th birthday, her parents gave her her very first set of kitchen knives. It wasn't a typical gift for a kid, but for Rachael, it was perfect. Rachael's love for cooking wasn't just about hard work. It was about curiosity and creativity, too. From the time she was a little girl, she was always experimenting. One weekend, she spent hours trying to make the perfect garlic aioli, refusing to give up until it tasted just right. Cooking became more than just something fun for Rachael. It became her way of expressing herself. When her family went through tough times, like her parents' divorce, Rachael used cooking to bring everyone together. She would spend hours in the kitchen, making meals that made her family feel closer and comforted. As she got older, her love for food only grew stronger. While other kids her age spent their money on clothes or magazines, Rachael saved up for cookbooks and special ingredients. In one funny story, she traded all her teen magazines for an old copy of Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Her friends thought it was strange, but for Rachael, it was priceless. At 27, Rachael Ray made a bold decision in 1995 to move to New York City with nothing but her passion for food and a strong determination to succeed. Her first job was behind the candy counter at Macy's Marketplace, earning $7.50 an hour. It was a modest start, but her love for food and natural talent quickly stood out. Within 18 months, she climbed the ranks to become the manager of the fresh foods department. She was responsible for overseeing 25 employees and managing an inventory worth over $500,000 daily. It was a huge step forward, but her time in the city wasn't without challenges. In 1997, Rachael Ray was living her dream in New York City, but everything changed one night. On November 27th, just before midnight, she was heading back to her apartment in Woodside after a long day at work. She was tired and focused on finding her keys when a teenager, Marcus Thompson, suddenly appeared behind her. He pushed her face into the door, pressed a gun into her back, and demanded her bag. Rachael was terrified, but she remembered the pepper spray her dad had given her. In a split-second move, she turned around and sprayed him in the face. At the same time, She screamed as loud as she could. Thompson panicked and ran off. Rachael was shaken, but alive. She went straight to the police, but they couldn't find him. She tried to go back to her routine, determined not to let fear take over. But just 10 days later, on December 7th, Thompson came back. This time, he was angrier and more violent. As Rachael walked toward her building around 10:30 p.m., he jumped out of the shadows. He grabbed her by the hair and dragged her into an alley. She could feel the cold metal of his gun against her head, and his breath reeked of cigarettes and alcohol. He hissed threats in her ear, and she was frozen with fear. But Rachael didn't give up. She remembered the self-defense moves she had learned after the first attack. She stomped on his foot as hard as she could and slammed her head back, hitting his nose. Thompson was caught off guard, and she screamed with everything she had. Her cries woke Liza, the building's guard dog, who started barking furiously. The noise scared Thompson, and he ran away. Rachael managed to escape, but she was left bruised and injured, with a sprained wrist and a small cut on her head. These two attacks changed everything for her. She couldn't sleep, replaying the moments over and over in her mind. At work, her friends noticed how different she was. The happy, bubbly Rachael was now quiet, anxious, and tired. The city she had loved so much no longer felt safe. In January 1998, Rachael made a hard choice. She decided to leave New York. It broke her heart to quit her job and give up her dreams, but she couldn't live in fear anymore. Years later, in a 2007 interview with People magazine, Ray reflected on her decision to leave New York. "Dude, I got mugged twice within 1 week. Wouldn't you want to leave? It freaked me out for a year." Despite these setbacks, her time in New York was valuable. She gained experience working with gourmet foods at Macy's and later as a manager and buyer at Agata and Valentina, a high-end gourmet market. After leaving New York, Rachael returned to upstate New York and started working at Cowan and Lobel, a gourmet market in Albany. It was here, in 1998, that she had the idea for 30-minute meals. She noticed many customers buying pre-made meals because they felt they didn't have time or cooking skills. Rachael wanted to change that. On October 15, 1998, she suggested teaching cooking classes to show people how to make quick, simple meals in just 30 minutes. Her employers were hesitant, but they agreed to try. The first class was held on November 3, 1998, with only 7 people attending. Rachael taught them how to make a simple pasta dish with garlic, olive oil, and cherry tomatoes. The response was amazing. Within 3 months, her classes were sold out, and waiting lists grew to 50 people or more. By early 1999, she was teaching 15 classes a week to groups of 25 students. This success led her to self-publish her first cookbook, 30-Minute Meals, in November 1999. It featured 50 recipes and sold 10,000 copies in just 10 days at local stores. What made Rachael's idea unique was its simplicity. She focused on easy recipes with everyday ingredients. Her catchphrases like EVOO for extra virgin olive oil and garbage bowl for kitchen scraps became her trademarks. She made cooking feel accessible even for beginners, and people loved it. This philosophy became the foundation of her career, resonating with home cooks everywhere. In 1999, her growing popularity caught the attention of Albany's CBS affiliate, WRGB-TV. They invited her to do a weekly cooking segment on their evening news. Rachael had no TV experience, but agreed to try. On April 1, 1999, she debuted on air, showing viewers how to make chicken piccata in under 30 minutes. Her charm and approachable style quickly won over audiences. Her segment aired every Wednesday and became a hit. Viewers loved her casual approach, her mistakes, and her encouragement to eyeball it instead of measuring precisely. By the end of the year, her segment was nominated for 2 local Emmy Awards, a rare feat for a cooking show. Her local TV success led to national exposure. On September 5, 2000, she appeared on NBC's Today Show, demonstrating her 30-minute meal concept. This appearance caught the attention of Food Network executives, leading to her big break. On November 17, 2001, her show 30-Minute Meals premiered on the network. At first, Rachael doubted herself, telling the executives, "I don't belong here. You guys are champagne, and I'm beer out of a bottle." But her authenticity and relatable style proved perfect for the show. The first episode attracted 1.7 million viewers, a record for a new Food Network show. By the end of the first season, the show averaged 2.3 million viewers per episode, making it a huge success. Rachael introduced fun terms like stoop, a mix of soup and stew, and Sammy's, sandwiches. Viewers loved her practical tips and enthusiasm. One episode, aired on Valentine's Day 2003, featured a romantic dinner in 30 minutes and drew over 3 million viewers. The demand for recipes even crashed the Food Network's website. Her success didn't stop there. She launched spin-off shows like $40 a Day in 2002, where she traveled to different cities, trying to eat 3 meals for under $40, and Rachael Ray's Tasty Travels in 2005. Same year, Rachael Ray signed a huge deal for $1.25 million to write 2 cookbooks. This happened to 0.6 million viewers every day, making it the biggest talk show debut since Dr. Phil in 2002. What made it even more impressive was that it competed against big names like Oprah and Ellen. In some cities, Rachael's show even beat them in the ratings, especially among younger viewers. The show wasn't just popular, it made a ton of money too. In the first year alone, it earned $170 million from ads and product placements. This gave Rachael the chance to grow her business even more, launching new products and ideas. By 2008, her brand was worth over $400 million, and the talk show was a big part of it. The show lasted an incredible 17 seasons and produced almost 3,000 episodes before ending in 2023. During its run, it won 3 Daytime Emmy Awards and, at its peak, reached over 10 million viewers a week. Meanwhile, Rachael Ray met John Cusimano in 2001 at a friend's party, and their connection started with a funny misunderstanding. Rachael, 33 at the time, thought John might be gay because of his impressive cooking knowledge. But once that was cleared up, they talked until 4 a.m. and quickly became inseparable. Rachael later said they talked every day after that first meeting. After 4 years of dating, they got married on September 24, 2005, in a dreamy wedding at Castello di Vellona, a 10th-century castle in Tuscany. It was a small, intimate wedding with about 100 guests, including celebrity chefs like Mario Batali. Rachael surprised everyone by choosing such a romantic setting, and she added her personal touch by carrying a bouquet made of herbs instead of flowers. John wore a custom suit, and they wrote their own vows, with Rachael promising to always keep Corona beer in the fridge for him. After the ceremony, they released white doves, hoping for a peaceful future together. Their reception had a menu Rachael created herself, and they danced to "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. It felt like the perfect start to a happy life together. But soon, their fairy tale marriage faced serious challenges. Only months after their wedding, everything got messy. In November 2006, a big tabloid story claimed John had been cheating on Rachael. A woman named Janine Walls said she had been with John for 5 years, even after he married Rachael. She talked about shocking things like drug use and strange habits. Not long after, another woman said John had paid her $500 an hour for what she called weird fetishes. These stories came at the worst time because Rachel's career was taking off. Her talk show, Rachael Ray, had just started in September 2006. The rumors made it look like her personal life was falling apart while she was trying to build her professional life. And it didn't stop there. In 2013, more stories came out, saying John was spotted at a swingers club in Manhattan. They even gave dates and said he was there with other women, but never with Rachael. All these rumors painted a picture of a broken marriage and put huge pressure on them. Through all of this, Rachael and John stood together. They denied all the accusations and showed a strong front.
This is what I'm talking about. The whole time we're cooking and tossing the pasta with the sauce, it's going to continue to cook. And then you pass extra sauce at the table as well.
In January 2007, Rachael talked about the rumors on her show. She said they were hurtful and not true. She looked emotional as she talked about how these stories affected their families and friends. The couple started making more public appearances, often holding hands and showing how close they were. On Valentine's Day in 2007, they went on The Oprah Winfrey Show together. John said he loved Rachael more than anything and called her his best friend. Rachael said their relationship was strong, and they knew exactly what they meant to each other. When more rumors came in 2013, Rachel's team called them lies. John even thought about suing the tabloids for defamation. Instead of focusing on the negativity, they worked on their business projects and supported charities together. Rachael often talked about how much they enjoyed each other's company. She said they liked the same things and found joy in small pleasures, like staying up late, eating junk food, and listening to loud music. Over time, they shifted the attention away from the scandals and showed the world how strong their bond was. In 2013, something terrible happened in Rachael Ray's family. Her aunt, Geraldine Scudery, was house-sitting for Rachel's mom in Queensbury, New York. One evening, Geraldine went outside to feed the birds, something she did all the time. But this time, she accidentally locked herself out of the house. It was freezing, 28 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 2 degrees Celsius, and she couldn't get back in. She tried to break a window, but couldn't. The hours passed, and the cold took over. Geraldine, who already had heart and lung problems, couldn't survive the freezing night. By morning, her body was found, and the family was heartbroken. This tragedy led to a huge fight within the family. Geraldine's daughter, Gina, was furious. She said Rachel's family had treated her mom badly. Gina told reporters that Geraldine wasn't even given a key to the house she was watching. She also said the family only paid her mom $300 a week for the job, which she thought was unfair. Gina blamed Rachael directly and said her cousin had forgotten about her family now that she was rich and famous. Things got worse when it came out that Rachael hadn't reached out to Geraldine's immediate family after the tragedy. Gina's anger grew and the fight became public, with the media adding fuel to the fire. Then came the funeral. On December 5, 2013, the family gathered to say goodbye to Geraldine. But Rachael wasn't there. Her absence upset Gina even more. Gina said Rachael didn't care and accused her of ignoring the family. To make things worse, Rachael posted tweets that day about casual things like cats and food. This made Gina even angrier. Rachel's team explained that she couldn't come because she was filming her show. Some family members, like her brother Manny, defended her, saying it wasn't fair to blame her for everything. But the damage was done, and the family became deeply divided. What started as a tragedy ended up tearing them apart. Years later, in August 2020, Rachael faced another disaster. Her house in Lake Luzerne, New York, caught fire. It started because of a problem with the chimney, and the flames spread quickly. Rachael's beautiful home, built 15 years earlier, was destroyed in less than an hour. The fire was so huge that it took 16 fire departments to control it. Because the house was in a remote area, firefighters had to bring water from a nearby pond. Even with all their hard work, the house was completely burned to the ground. The night of the fire started out normal. Rachael had cooked pasta for her husband, John, and lit a fire in the fireplace to keep the house cozy. Then, a man riding an ATV near their backyard saw flames on the roof and rushed to warn them. Rachael, John, and their dog, Bella Boo, had only seconds to escape. Rachael tried to save a few things from upstairs, but a firefighter stopped her and told her to get out immediately. They ran outside with nothing but the clothes they were wearing. Standing there, they watched their house burn. Rachael said it was terrifying to see everything she owned go up in flames, especially since she had been filming her cooking show there just days before. Even though they lost so much, she was thankful that she, John, and Bella Boo made it out safely. Rachael Ray faced serious backlash in 2019 for supporting Mario Batali after he was accused of sexual misconduct. In an NPR interview on January 15, 2019, Ray admitted she still spoke with Batali, despite allegations from multiple women of harassment and inappropriate touching that dated back 2 decades. Her comments caused an uproar. Many thought she dismissed the seriousness of the accusations when she said inappropriate behavior was common in professional kitchens, adding, "We're all kind of a little bit crazy." She even suggested the attention on Batali was unfair, which angered advocacy groups and others in the culinary world. Critics felt her remarks minimized the victims' experiences, and the backlash only grew when it was revealed Ray never directly asked Batali about the allegations. Social media exploded with calls to boycott her products and shows, and #BoycottRachelRay trended on Twitter. The controversy also reignited discussions about sexual misconduct in the restaurant industry, with Ray's stance seen as part of a larger culture that protects powerful figures. In 2018, Ray's pet food brand Nutrish faced a $5 million lawsuit. It claimed Nutrish dog food contained glyphosate, a herbicide found in Roundup weed killer. The lawsuit argued this contradicted the brand's natural marketing. Glyphosate is classified as a probable carcinogen by the World Health Organization, and tests reportedly found it in Nutrish products. The news shocked pet owners, especially since the brand was trusted for being wholesome and natural. Compounding the issue, Nutrish had been acquired by J.M. Smucker Company for $1.9 billion months earlier, raising questions about whether quality had declined. Smucker denied the claims and vowed to fight the lawsuit, but Nutrish's reputation suffered. Sales reportedly dropped 15% in the quarter after the lawsuit, and many pet owners demanded stricter regulations for pet food ingredients. Ray's raspy voice, a key part of her on-screen persona, has a heartbreaking origin. As a child in upstate New York, she suffered repeated bouts of croup from ages 2 to 7. The severe inflammation damaged her vocal cords, leaving permanent scars. By adulthood, her cords had lost much of their elasticity, giving her the husky voice she's known for. This condition also makes her more prone to losing her voice, a problem she faces multiple times a year. Ray has had to manage her voice carefully, taking frequent vocal rests and limiting speaking engagements during busy filming schedules. Despite the challenges, she turned this setback into a strength, making her voice a distinctive part of her brand. In 2008, a benign cyst on Ray's vocal cord worsened her voice problems. After trying vocal therapy without success, she underwent surgery in July 2009 to remove the cyst. The delicate procedure required extreme care to avoid further damage to her vocal cords. Recovery was tough, with 2 weeks of complete silence, forcing Ray to communicate only through writing and gestures. Her husband, John Cusimano, helped her during this time. The surgery disrupted her TV schedule, but by September 2009, she returned to work with a renewed focus on vocal health. The experience also inspired her to raise awareness about vocal care. Recently, in 2024, Ray's health became a concern again. In a video from her Rachael Ray in Tuscany series, fans noticed she was slurring her words, sparking fears about a stroke or neurological issues. Ray didn't comment at first, which only fueled speculation. Later, during the debut of her podcast, she revealed she'd had a couple of bad falls. These falls had kept her from her usual activities, like helping her husband with chores. Though she didn't share many details, the admission raised questions about her overall health.